Before I moved to Japan, I probably watched hundreds of videos about working here, and they all show the same content: great food, beautiful offices, cherry blossoms, and people bowing politely. And I thought, yes, this is probably where I want to be. What they didn't show me was, or what nobody talks about, is the day to day reality of being a foreigner working in a Japanese company. So today, I want to be completely honest with you, not to scare you or to tell you not to come, but I wish someone had told me these things before I got here. My name is Clement and I live in Shimane Prefecture, one of the least visited places in Japan, and this is real life. So, the first thing that hit me was the silence. In Western and most African workplaces, you are encouraged to speak up, share ideas, challenge things. But in Japan, especially in a traditional company, that is not how things work. This is a very clear hierarchy. Your senpai, who happens to be your senior colleague, speaks first. You listen. You don't contradict. You don't volunteer ideas when not asked. I remember sitting in my first meeting and realizing that nobody was disagreeing with anything. Everybody was nodding, and I thought, are they all just agreeing, or they are scared, or do they genuinely agree? The answer I later understood is that it's probably complicated. Japanese work culture has a concept called nemawashi. Nemawashi, it means building consensus quietly, one-on-one before meeting. So by the time you're in the room, everything is clearly understood and decided. So the meeting is probably just an announcement and not a discussion. Once I understood that, I stopped, trying to be the loud foreigner in the room with ideas, in the meeting room, and I started having conversations in the corridor. And that is what most beginners or most foreigners do not understand. The work cultural dynamics are very different, right? So once you get into a Japanese workplace, you need to be steady. You need to study the environment. You need to know who is open to ideas, who wants to hear from you. And even with that, you need to take things easy because they have developed systems and operations that have, lasted for years. These are the systems that has made a company to survive. And so to be able to trust new ideas within a month or within some weeks of you joining the company is practically impossible. And sometimes I think it does sound very ridiculous because they need to test these ideas to be sure that it works or not. You need to also understand that the Japanese company is so much bent on delivering absolute quality, superior service. And so testing new ideas, surely it does come with, trials, right? It does come with some level of failures, which wouldn't serve their customers the best interest. So these are some of the concerns why if it's better or it's ideal that as a foreigner you need to take things easy. You need to give them that space to first of all accept you and be able to trust your ideas. The next thing is nobody gives you a manual, and that's the thing. There are rules about everything, about when you arrive, when you leave, how you address people, what you say when you walk in the morning, what you say when you leave, and none of these are written down anywhere, So Ohayo gozaimasu when you arrive, otsukare desu when you leave, or otsukare deshita when you leave, which means you must be tired and thank you for your hard work. And it's said to everyone and every single day. So if you forget to say it, people will definitely notice, So I got, I got so many of these wrongs in my very first weeks, not out of disrespect, but just out of not knowing. And the difficulty part is that, Japanese colleagues will rarely correct you, because they think you're a foreigner or that is being too polite. So you can make these mistakes for months and nobody's going to correct you. So my advice, find one person in your workplace that you can ask directly, and that person will be very honest with you. That relationship is worth everything. Let's talk about the language barrier, because this is what a lot of people's dreams come up against reality. You might have studied Japanese, you might have been probably N3 or N2 level. But then you walk into a meeting, then someone is speaking at full speed in Kansai dialect with technical vocabulary, and you understand maybe 30% of what is happening. That is very specific kind of loneliness, understanding enough to know you are missing things, but not enough to fill in the gaps. So what I found help, I started writing down things after every meeting that I couldn't follow. I write the words that I didn't understand, look them up, and understand the context that it was used. Slowly by slowly, I was able to fill in the gaps, and I still do fill in the gaps. But what I want to be straight with you is that if you are planning to work in a Japanese company, obviously the language is a must. There is no way I could say this. And sometimes people in different disciplines, like those in IT, do have some exemptions, but the current immigration rules are gradually changing. To be able to qualify for the humanities visa, you need to have the N2 certification, language certification. And so it means that regardless of whether you're an engineer or not, you still need to pass your N2 level, Japanese proficiency level. And so there is no excuse for anyone. The core reason is that if you're an engineer, maybe the programming languages are obviously the same. So your task giving is very easy to specify. We need this bug fixed. We need that done. These are the deliverables after your sprint planning or after your products, management meetings. But if you're into other disciplines, like let's say humanitarian, humanities, like you're into other areas that are not technical, probably customer service, business development, and those that are, customer facing roles, Japanese is very critical, because this is their market. This is the Japanese market, and almost everyone in Japan speaks Japanese, right? It's like out of 100%, you have about 10-15% of the population who can speak, English, or who can understand English. And so to engage with your customers, or to engage with your target market or your target audience, you need to speak Japanese. You need to communicate in the language that they understand. And even if you have to deal with stakeholders, most of your stakeholders are also Japanese. So realize that the language requirement is critical to you surviving in Japan. And aside it's been an issue of working, how about within your social life, how to make friends, how to move around, how to visit places, how to eat out? Having the language proficiency is a great deal, I think. And sometimes we think most Japanese people do not want to engage with us, or do not want to start a conversation with us. But the truth is that they know for sure that out of 10 foreigners, probably you have 1 or 2 people who can understand, a bit, or who can understand to some extent of what they want to say. And they know also understand English. So not to create that discomfort, or to create that tension where they cannot express their ideas, or they are scared, or they are afraid, not scared, but they do not want to make mistake in expression, because they don't want to say words that would carry different meanings, or words that do not really convey their true intent. And for that, to avoid that embarrassment, they rather not speak to you and they avoid you completely. But sometimes the moment you approach them, go like, "Oh, konnichiwa," then they're like, "Hey." Like they are surprised, because they know that, especially when you now ask them that, "Can I have a short conversation with you, or can I talk to you?" That lightens them up, and they now want to speak to you. So my strongest advice is, at least try to pass your N5. Try to understand the basics before you come to Japan. But that notwithstanding, it's not a deal breaker, but just that is going to lighten up your stay in Japan. Japan has a word called karoshi. It means death by overwork. It's a real phenomenon. And while things are slowly changing, especially since government reforms in recent years, the culture of staying late is still very present. So even if your actual work is done, leaving before your manager leaves can feel uncomfortable. There is an unspoken pressure to be seen to be working called mieruka, which means visibility matters. So I want to be careful here because this genuinely varies a lot by company, by industry, by region. Rural Japan and Tokyo are different worlds in this respect. In Shimane, the pace is genuinely slower. People go home for dinner. The relationship with time here feels more human. But if you are going into a large Tokyo corporation, go in with your eyes open. So, is it worth it? Here's my honest answer. Working in Japan taught me much more about patience, observation, and reading the room than any course or book ever taught me. It's made me a better communicator, not because Japan made it easy, but because it made it necessary. The things that frustrated me most, the hierarchy, the silence, the unspoken rules, those are also the things that once I understood them made me deeply respect the culture I was living in. So there is a precision and there is a care to Japanese work culture that I have never experienced anywhere else in my life. It's hard. It's genuinely hard, especially in the beginning, especially as a foreigner. But if you come in with humility, if you come in, to learn rather than to perform, I think Japan will give you more than you expected. Yes, I think so, to be honest. Like I said, the beginning is the beginning is not easy because it's a new culture, especially when there is that strong language barrier and also cultural differences in terms of work and in terms of expectations. It's hard, but once you understand the cultural nuances and what's expected of you, I think you would enjoy you would enjoy the pace and the space as well. So give yourself time. Understand that you're not walking into a space that you want to fix all the problems within a month or you want to fix everything within a year. Don't walk in thinking that those in the office do not know what they are about. So do not walk into an office thinking you are the messiah of the day or you are the savior of the day, because the reason why the Japanese customer service is top notch is because they have developed systems. They've rehearsed this flow over and over so many times, and they know what to do when things go wrong. And so if you're thinking about working in Japan, or if you're already here and recognizing yourself in what I just described, please drop a comment below. Tell me about your experiences. Tell me what nobody told you and you had to learn on your own. And if this video helped you, please subscribe, because I'm going to keep making these videos, the real ones. And please turn on your notifications so that you'll receive an alert once I do so. So these are going to be real stories, not scripted or the funny or the fun side of Japan. Is going to be everything in and between. Thank you.